Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Monday, December 7th, and I'm Blair Kerkhoff. Today we're talking about the Chiefs' 22-16 victory over the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs were held to their lowest point total of the season, but no matter, they found a way to win. And we talked about it after the game with Sam Mellinger, Vahe, Gregorian, Herbie, Teope, and Sam McDowell, and with you who tuned in to SportsBeat Live after the game. So if you missed that show, here it is in podcast form. Hey, almost on time. Hey, good morning, and welcome to SportsBeat Live post-game edition, where the Chiefs have just a couple hours ago defeated the Denver Broncos 29-16. I think the scoreboard said 22-16, but I'm giving them Tyreek Hill's touchdown. Because he scored a touchdown. We've got Sam McDowell and Sam Mellinger in the house. We'll be joined later by Herbie, Teope, and Vahe, Gregorian. And as always, we are joined by all of you guys with your questions and comments. And we have got a bunch of them already, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. But let's start with Sam Mellinger. What'd you think, Sam? What'd you end up writing about?
You know we're live this time, right, Sam?
Yeah. Keeping it clean, fellas. I'm just, family friendly over here. The thing that stuck out to me, like the Chiefs are like famous because of like these magic trick touchdowns, right? Like Tyreek Hill going down the sideline, Travis Kelce, like all these things. But I think they're like champions because of moments like this. I thought that Andy Reid, look, it's the Broncos. I get all that. I'm not trying to build them up. But like Andy Reid said this in his postgame, and he is famously not, insightful is not the word, but he's not going to give you a lot in these post games, right? But he said that this is a game that maybe we lose in the past. And I thought that was really telling, and I thought he's absolutely right. They just have so many different ways to win that they can do it like this.
Including 5 field goals from Harrison Butker, one touchdown that counted tonight, the Mahomes to Kelce pass. And I thought the Chiefs played some pretty good defense. We'll talk about that. But Sam McDowell, what'd you end up writing about?
Well, I wrote about the play you mentioned off the top with Tyreek Hill. First of all, I guess my main takeaway is that can't happen. I mean, NFL teams are too good for you to score a touchdown that you just get absolutely 0 points out of. There's remedies for this. I mean, you've got a challenge play. And NBC was able to show us the replay before the Chiefs had snapped it. Now, it was a split second before the Chiefs had snapped it, but it was before the Chiefs had snapped the ball for the punt. If they're able to see the replay, somebody in that Chiefs booth needs to be able to see the replay. Just a weird deal. Andy Reid said, and I assume it was because Tyreek Hill actually emerged with the football, that he asked him, did you catch that ball? And Tyreek Hill said, no, he didn't. And so that was kind of him checking the box that there's no reason to wait to snap this because they snapped it with 9 seconds left. They could have waited till 1 or 2 to give themselves more time. But I don't think Andy Reid thought there was anything to look at. When Tyreek Hill said he's never had a receiver said he didn't catch a pass that he actually caught.
Us three were not at the stadium tonight. Vahe and Herbie were, and that's kind of why they're not here. They're working their way back from Arrowhead to get to a place where they can join us. But so we don't know what was on the Jumbotron. But what I thought about was when Tommy Townsend was back in punt formation and the replay was being shown. I'm assuming the replay was being shown on the big screen there. Could Townsend even have seen it and called timeout or done something to stop the play? I mean, it's just such a strange circumstance. Andy Reid said he'd never seen anything like it before. It was, how could something like that possibly happen? It's just beyond me. So it was one of the, as I often do at these games, I've got 2 lists: things that were good about the Chiefs' victory and things that were not so good about the Chiefs' victory. It's always a victory, but my lists that weren't so good, the not so good list is longer than the good list was. I'll go down them quickly, and maybe we can we'll circle back and talk about a couple of them. 3rd down conversions, not so good. Red zone offense. Well, let's just stop there, right? Red zone offense and 3rd down conversions. Hey, Herbie, how you doing?
What's going on?
Good to see you. Good to see you. We're just talking about some of the places where the Chiefs came up short tonight. We've gone through the Tyreek Hill touchdown, non-touchdown, but the fact that it took them several series to get their first third down conversion tonight, and their first 3 times in the red zone they came away with field goals and not touchdowns, and that was never a problem with the Patrick Mahomes team. What do we think's going on with their red zone offensive execution these days?
There's a lot of things. They were 3 of 10 on third down, so 30% on the game, and then red zone trips in the first half alone. They had to settle for 3 Harrison Butker field goals, finished the game with 5. There are a lot of issues there, and to me, one of the things that really jumped out to me was that one drive where they were at first and goal at the 4-yard line. Okay, did a little razzle dazzle to try to spring Le'Veon Bell loose. He got down to the 1-yard line. Then they got stuffed again. And then instead of trying to jam it in there again on 3rd and 1, they did a reverse play. I don't think they have what it takes, and this is something we've always talked about in the past, to be physical on another team and just jam that ball in the end zone. When you're inside the 4-yard line, there's no need to do a reverse. There's no need to do a Patrick Mahomes in motion. If you want to run the ball, then run the ball. There's no need to do all that other stuff. I just think that's lacking from this offense when they're inside the 5-yard line.
Andrew,
it's almost like just real quick, it's almost like the gadget stuff that they do. That's to, obviously like catch the defense sort of off guard or whatever. But it's almost like at this point, running the ball up the middle would like catch the defense off guard.
Gadget.
Like the last thing they're going to expect is, Le'Veon Bell up the middle on short yardage.
People do complain about the gadget stuff, but it's effective, and it's more effective than running normal stuff at the goal line. There's a reason they do it.
Andrew Leifer disagree. Andy got so cute on the red zone offensive plays. Running backs going, they want to see going backwards, right, to go forward. Listen, one thing that seemed to be successful for the Chiefs earlier this year were the jet sweeps in the red zone. That's how Mahomes kind of piled up some touchdown passes earlier in the year, where the all but handoffs to Hill, to Hardman, whoever was streaking past, and then let speed get to the pylon. And we haven't seen that in the red zone lately. But hey, so for that reason, the Chiefs were settling for field goals and trailed the Broncos 10-9 at halftime, and took the lead 12-10. The Broncos went back up 16-12. And at this point, Vic Fangio makes the first of what I think are 2 bad decisions, going for 2 when it's 16-12. Instead of making it 17-12, it stayed 16-12. And then in the 4th quarter, with 6 minutes to play, the Broncos face a 4th and 3 from about midfield, and Vic Fangio sends on the punt unit, and they kick it to the Chiefs. And we saw what happened last week in Tampa Bay, where the Bucks, Chiefs got the ball with 4 minutes to go and never gave it back. Tonight they got the ball with 6 minutes to go, led 5 minutes, made the Broncos use both of their timeouts, and then got Harrison Butker's 5th field goal out of it, and really left the Broncos with little opportunity to win the game. So. What did we think of Broncos' strategies tonight?
I thought they were awful. I thought the decision to punt was the game. I mean, I thought as soon as they punted the ball that was going to be the game. One of those decisions, though, there were 2 actually others that I would add. The Broncos kicking on 4th and 2 at the 35-yard line. I know they made the field goal in the first quarter. That was a mistake because the Broncos had best case scenario with their defense. They held the Chiefs to 5 field goals, 4 of them in the red zone. They still didn't have enough points to win. You can't rely on that part happening. I just thought you can't beat Patrick Mahomes with field goals. We talk about it all the time. I wouldn't have kicked the field goal there. The second one was actually an Andy Reid decision. I wouldn't have kicked the field goal to go from a 3-point lead to a 6-point lead rather than I would have gone for it on 4th and 2. Pro Football Focus studies this stuff, and going from a 3 to a 6-point lead doesn't do you much good in the final minute of a game. If you don't get it there, you still pin the Broncos with bad field position, a lot of field to drive to try and tie the game with a field goal or win the game with a touchdown. But I didn't like that decision much either.
Hey, we're joined by clean-shaven Vahe Gregorian. How are you, Vahe?
I'm okay. It all came off on the drive down here. I moved so fast.
So fess up. What's the Gregorian column out of this game?
It's interesting. I noticed that Sam Mellinger and I asked, I think, similar questions off a different tree a little bit in the bang moments of deadline. So I was trying to kind of get at just the notion of sort of what doesn't kill them makes them stronger. And I think now it's, the last 4 wins have been by a total of 15 points, and they've had to grit them out at the end. And I suppose you could see that as making them vulnerable, but I do think that it just gets them to a place where they have more and more of this sense of themselves as always knowing they'll find a way.
Well, they certainly have, right? The last few games, they have found a way to get it done. Now, sometimes it's been against teams that we think will be in the playoffs, like the Tampa Bay Bucks, like the Vegas Raiders. Other times it's against teams like the Carolina Panthers or tonight's Denver Broncos. It doesn't seem to matter what the competition level is. The Chiefs find themselves in a game playing to the final possession, and they don't win games the way the Patriots beat the Chargers today. But on the other hand, they don't lose, and they're now 11-1. They clinched a playoff spot tonight, and we'll keep an eye on the Steelers game against Washington, and then next week the Steelers at Buffalo to see what might unfold with those games. All right, so continuing on my list of things that I thought went wrong tonight, and one thing that was kind of subtle, I thought the Broncos' defensive line batted down passes in a way I hadn't seen an opponent do that this season. Was it 3 or 4 times? Mahomes likes to go sidearm and over the middle, and Broncos were having none of that. They just batted down a few of those balls. The other thing, the Nick Allegretti hold on what would have been the Tyreek Hill long touchdown reception. That was unfortunate and costly for the Chiefs. So, what else didn't we like?
Allegretti was kind of like in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, though. I mean, he had 2 players coming right at him.
Yeah.
And so he was basically trying to block 2 players at once. So, that was inevitable. The hold was going to be inevitable for him.
I felt like the official really buried the lead on that call. We were joking about that in the press box. Like, after the flags went down, the official first addresses whether or not it was maybe going to be a penalty on Tyreek for the backflip. Then he's like, and also there was a holding.
Oh, by the way.
So that was would Tyreek have gotten was there a penalty coming on him for that? It was a little different kind of celebration than the previous backflip.
I've seen the Chiefs penalized for touchdowns that didn't count before. So I think
we've seen him celebrate touchdowns.
That's right.
Yeah, I think this one may have been his standing at the half-yard line for a while, waiting for someone to approach him.
It seemed like he was there forever.
Like at the end of the
is nobody running to him? Like he was just like
so much so that I thought he had stepped out of bounds when the play was over, and he was just like waiting.
Yeah, that was weird.
We've gotten a couple of Terrence Robinson wants to know about the kind of offensive line play tonight. Ryder isn't great. Wiley's overmatched, and we miss our 2 guards. We need to make a change to center. And we have Band-Aids on the roster, but Andy's reluctant to make changes along the line without injuries happening. Herbie, you've got a sense that we might.
Is that all?
That's it. Herbie, you've got a sense that we might see some changes on the offensive line.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, here's the deal. Okay, Mr. Schwartz was placed on injured reserve on November the 21st. So this right here, this upcoming week will be his 3-week window that he has to spend on injured reserve. If he's feeling okay, then, obviously he'll take his spot back at right tackle. And now the Chiefs have a decision to make. They brought up Wisniewski this over the weekend, and I know he's a guy that they brought to this practice squad with the view to have him on the active roster eventually before the start of the playoffs. And I always go back to last year. The Chiefs know what they have with Wisniewski. Brett Veach raved about him at the Super Bowl. Andy Reid calls him, quote, dirty tough, end quote. That's his favorite phrase when he likes a player. Wisniewski brings that nasty attitude that's missing from this offensive line. If they're going to run the football in January, they're going to want somebody that has that mentality. I'm just going to beat the guy up that's across from me. Okay, I'm going to beat this guy up so my running back can come right behind me and rip off a 10, 15-yard gain. So it wouldn't surprise me if Schwartz is back healthy enough at some point in the next couple of weeks, we also see Wisniewski take a spot either at left guard or right guard.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening. Okay, let's talk about a couple of players. Travis Kelce was okay tonight. 8 for 137 and the touchdown. Did anybody write Kelce?
I did a little bit during the game. He's also the fastest. The NFL put this out. He's the first tight end to ever get 1,100 yards in his team's first 12 games. Obviously, we all know he's the first to get 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And it was funny because when I had texted my editor that I was writing it, and on our Slack channel, Herbie texted me and said, "Hey, by the way, we wrote last year that he was the first to ever do this 4 straight times." Look up my story from last year too.
That's right, because everybody's making a big deal. He's the first tight end to do it 5 years. Of course, because if he's the first tight end to do it 4 years, of course he'll be the first tight end to do it in 5 straight years.
It was a big deal on the broadcast tonight. That's for sure.
Little side note. He did the fourth consecutive year with 1,000 yards last year on December the 15th against the Broncos. So he sets the record again or extends the record against the Broncos. Little known fact there. Look at that.
Well, it's not too little known because it made its way into my story tonight. So
because I quote tweeted you.
He's got more yards against the Broncos though than he does against any NFL team, and he's got over 1,000 yards just in games against the Broncos. He's also done that against the Raiders too.
Yeah, a team that he thought he was playing tonight based on his post-game interview. But that's okay, and he didn't get corrected. So maybe they did play the Raiders. Maybe he's right. The other one I want to talk about is Tyrann Mathieu. And before last week, before the Tampa Bay game, we were on the defense. Every show that we did, we were on the defense, giving up tons of yards, getting killed by Derek Carr, by Teddy Bridgewater. Seemed like trending in the wrong direction. And look, I was, when Melvin Gordon had 103 rushing yards at halftime, I was thinking, here we go. This is how you beat the Chiefs. Control the clock. Melvin Gordon's, has had big games against the Chiefs before. But I thought the Chiefs did okay. And Tyrann Mathieu with his 2 interceptions, Locke's first and last passes, not his first, but one of his first, and then the last pass attempt of the night, and played a good game. He was the star of the game as far as I was concerned, and so he helped make Drew Lock's night kind of miserable. Vahe, I know you had some thought about writing about Drew Lock if the Broncos had pulled this out.
Yeah, I did. And by the way, can you hear me okay with the
Sure.
Pods, and it was too bad for Drew Lock. I mean, the game was kind of there. And one thing I was surprised a little bit. We were talking about it in the press box a little. His throwaway game needs to be he needs to work on that a little bit of all the sort of funny things. But I thought a couple times he sort of put it up for grabs when I think he was sort of trying to throw it away, and I almost got him in more trouble. And obviously bookending the game with those 2 interceptions that kind of ends up being the signature of his night. But he had some moments, and I guess jury's out on how he's going to convert those moments going forward, right? But I still think he's got a pretty bright future, and I think he just needs to have more consistent playing time, and we'll see. I do wonder, though, if he's always going to have that little anvil over his head when he's playing the Chiefs, like it's just going to be in his head.
I think it's going to be in his head because, okay, obviously he's from this area. When you think of the last 3 games, you got 5 interceptions against the Chiefs. I mean, in 3 games, 5 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. It's not a good ratio. And I'm curious if he's given away something on tape to the Chiefs defense, that they're able to read his routes, read his eyes, because 5 interceptions in 3 games is not good. It's not good at all for a quarterback.
Tell you what, Tyron sure seemed to basically say he knew what was coming on that last interception.
I think when the Chiefs get him moving his feet a little bit and get him a little bit out of his comfort zone, where Patrick Mahomes thrives in that environment, Drew Lock doesn't. That's when he tends to overthrow. I thought Chris Collinsworth made a good observation on Lock's first interception when the short route was right in front of him. Just take the 5 to 7 yard completion there. Instead, he gets flushed, he goes long, and Tyrann Mathieu there to pick it off. So I'll tell you what, a kind of a subtle, really good play by Tyrann Mathieu tonight was right before halftime. When he made the open field tackle. I forgot who caught the ball. It was one of the tight ends, I think, and avoided a block, made a good open field tackle, and forced the Broncos to attempt a 57-yard field goal instead of a 50-yard field goal. And McManus misses it, and the Chiefs go down the field and get their field goal just before halftime.
That was
whoever that was. The lineman that was pulling, but the lineman in front of him that was pulling, if he pulls off that block, that's a 25-yard play. Yeah. And you're right, like it totally changes things. And that was, I thought, whatever. This is a weird thing to say, but I thought that was a better play than either of the interceptions. But but I also wonder, like, Tyrann Mathieu is one of the worst defensive backs to have if you're throwing like a screw it ball that's going to be in the air a little bit too long, because he is a ball hawk. He can read that stuff. He can get there. He can make the play. And it seemed like that was, some of what happened with his 2 picks. I just wonder if that little part of it's just kind of a bad matchup for him, for Drew Lock is what I'm saying.
The Broncos are going to have some questions. I feel like that they're in a tough spot with Drew Lock because the arm's there, the size is there, but the decision-making just isn't. And that's what you think you can probably most improve with a young player is the decision-making. And I just don't know that we've seen a lot from year 1 to year 2 in that department. And the first interception to Tyrann Mathieu is just a perfect example of it.
Tell you, Barbara Hedrick asked a question that I was asking myself when it happened. The Chiefs getting called for the delay of game penalty on Butker's last field goal.
Never seen that.
What? And then I guess I didn't realize you can't review that. It's a terrible call. Why in the hell can't you review that? I mean, it's a clock issue. And how do you not see the clock go to 0? I mean, it hadn't gone to 0 by the time the ball was snapped. I just thought, what a terrible call that was. But Butker, ice water in his veins tonight, was just as perfect on the 48-yarder as he was on the 43-yarder.
What made that even stranger, though, is just when you watch football, it seems like, if anything, the officials err on the other side.
Right.
And they let it stick on 0 for, just another beat. And this was the first one. I mean, I don't even know if the holder, if the ball was in the holder's hand, if the ball was in Townsend's hand, maybe even, and there was still 1 on the clock. It was just one of the weirdest calls that I can remember. I just never seen anything like it. And if it went away the other way, like if Butker misses that kick and the Chiefs lose, like that's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
The only thing that we're talking about here, tomorrow, all week. That's it.
Well, maybe because he only had the one extra point attempt tonight, but he hasn't missed one in a while. I can't remember the game. It would have been maybe the Panthers. I don't know, but it seems like whatever was ailing Butker there for a few games is over. I did not stay on long enough to hear him on the post game interview session. I don't know if he said anything interesting, but it's good to see him back and confident again because they'll. Look, he played a big role. Obviously, played a big role for him last year, and he's one of the best in the NFL. All right, so I know that when the Chiefs play the Raiders, we talk about the Chiefs having a bit of a Raiders problem. Do they have a Broncos problem now?
No,
I don't think so. I mean, that was 43-16, a month or two ago, and we are, the Sam McDowell, Tyreek Hill play, the whole there are a few others that could have just broken this game open. The Broncos that's a weird team too. They're coming off a week where they, were forced to play without a quarterback. And, there's some reasons to believe that whoever played the Broncos this week was going to get their best effort. I think they're leaps and bounds above better than the Broncos, but.
The Broncos do have some good game plans, though, defensively, I think, against the Chiefs. We talked about Vic Fangio, and I think he made some on-the-spot, really poor decisions. But as far as through the week, the stuff he did during the week to get ready for this game, I mean, there's a reason the Chiefs are struggling against this team on third down, back-to-back matchups against them. I don't think that the Broncos have enough talent right now to beat the Chiefs. I mean, it's clear by the winning streak. I mean, it's 11 straight games that they've beaten them. But I do think Vic Fangio deserves some credit for the game plans he's come up against the Chiefs offense twice now.
They've got some good players over there. Justin Simmons is a stud.
He is.
They've got some guys over there.
They got some good guys in the front seven, too.
That was one of the things that I noticed, and you guys could disabuse me of this quickly, but I think we go weeks and weeks without seeing anybody bat the ball at the line of scrimmage on Patrick. And there were at least three, I think, in the first half. And it, to me, reflects some level of coaching familiarity, at least.
That's a good point.
A lot of film work.
I think Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's well said. And did you see Terrence Robinson?
Hey, by the way, just to go back to one other thing real quick about all the sort of clock stuff and delay stuff, and I realize some of this would not be covered under this, but Herbie, you might agree with me or maybe not, but we felt like it was an inordinately long delay on TV from what we were seeing on the field tonight at the stadium. It seemed like much longer in between plays. And I don't know if that had some impact on or any connection at all to whatever else was going on, like the timing of replays or things like that. But it just seemed like there was some kind of disturbance in the force.
I agree. There was at least, maybe even 5 or 6 seconds. That might be too long. 3 or 4 seconds maybe. Because every time a play would happen, we'd automatically, I'd look on Twitter just to see how long it would take for someone to tweet out what they were watching on TV. And it certainly wasn't instantaneous. There was a delay.
I'll say this, that you guys in the press box knew about Sammy Watkins' catch being overturned, ruled an incompletion. It seemed like a minute before anybody else did.
Yeah, I looked up and you could see it was still on commercial, and I thought, well, here's a chance to throw a real scoop out there. On demonstrate what we can get by being at the stadium.
Yeah. Did you credit the Star? Okay. Hey, so Herbie, what did Andy say about Clyde Edwards-Helaire not playing tonight?
He just basically said, hey, he missed practices and he felt he lost some weight, and that was one of the main reasons why he didn't play. I mean, to me, it's like when you miss 2 days of practice, that means you've missed the install periods, you missed the walkthrough. So it shouldn't have been like that big of a surprise to a lot of folks, but it was a surprise to people. But when you miss the install period, you miss practice. You miss the first team walkthroughs. That goes to Le'Veon Bell.
I wonder on that point if Darrell Williams got himself back in the backfield rotation tonight, because I thought he was their best running back tonight.
Well, if anything, he certainly took the second team reps with Edwards-Helaire not practicing.
He was really tough on the final possession too. When at that point too, I'm thinking if you're the Broncos, you got to respect Mahomes and his arm, but I think that's the offensive line had its best moment in those 5 minutes there, and Darrell Williams ran really hard. At a 12-yard, I think he about 23 yards, I think, on 3 carries in that stretch. So, interesting to see what might happen from this point forward with how they use the running backs. All right, guys, any final thoughts? Miami Dolphins next. I guess I'll start it off. My final thought is, thank goodness we don't have any more regular season night games. I am down on the night games. What do we think?
My final thoughts. These next 2 weeks are going to be fun as heck. We're going from the Broncos to 2 playoff contenders with the Dolphins, who are certainly a different team from what I thought they would be at the beginning of the year, where they're 8-4 right now. And then, of course, you've got a team that I think is going to be meeting these Chiefs again in the next Super Bowl, the Saints, in Week 15. It's going to be these next 2 weeks are going to be good. I saw that, Melly.
I was hoping you would.
Was that a Kool-Aid gesture?
No, that was the drinking game. Yeah, every time Herbie says New Orleans,
I thought you just meant he's drinking the Kool-Aid, but your version's better.
All right, you guys. Well, that's a good one to end it on. Let's turn out the lights and get to bed. We will be back on Thursday morning at 9:30, talking Chiefs, Miami Dolphins, and we'll have more. We'll have a better idea where the AFC standings, playoff race stands, because the Steelers play the Washington Football Clubs tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, right? It's not Tuesday.
Or today. Today.
It's scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So for Sam Mellinger, Vahe Gregorian, Herbie Teope, Sam McDowell, Beth Welsh, our producer, thank you very much, and the biggest thanks to all you guys that provided comments and questions. We really enjoy doing this, and you guys make it fun for us. So. Good night, you guys, and we'll talk to you again on Thursday.
That will do it for today. Thanks to our production staff of Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Randy Mason, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. A tip of the cap to the A-Team, Herbie Teope, Sam McDowell, Sam Mellinger, and Vahe Gregorian for Talking Chiefs, and links to their stories can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, we got another deal for you, especially for those who want a deep dive into the Stars' terrific Chiefs coverage. For a limited time, you can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. After 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel. How do you get it? You go to kansascity.com/sportspass2020. That's kansascity.com/sportspass2020. You want more than just sports coverage? I know I do. Check out the entire Kansas City Star product: sports, news, features, commentary, analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. The details for that can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of these offers, send me an email, bkerkhoff@kcstar.com, and I'll get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Tuesday with another episode.